I think being married can easily deter you from liking someone, but you know, that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, the worst stuff that I watched this year was, I feel like, a lot worse than the stuff I watched last year. And my drama of the year is, so it has been a year since I made my viral video, my best and worst of 2024, and it's finally time to make the 2025 list. That is absolutely crazy how much has changed since then. I've grown my channel like quite a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of expectations for this video to perform, maybe not just as well, but like close. This year, I feel like some very, very popular opinions. I think everything in my top 6 minus 1 is going to be in most people's lists for this year. I don't think I've seen a single person disagree with my first place drama, and I just think it's indisputable, like number 1 of the year. I will say, I know whenever I release the worst part, a lot of people get really upset, and there's one drama in particular that I even thought about just taking out because I know that people are going to go like crazy over it. But as always, I'm going to start with my disclaimer that my opinions are my own. It is not the objective truth. And one more disclaimer, because I got this comment a lot last year, is just they're all romance dramas. Yes, that will be true every single year. So if you don't watch romance dramas, you aren't interested in romance dramas, I am not the channel for you, dude. Like, I am sorry. You're gonna have to go check out other threads for those genres that you're interested in, because I'm a shallow person. Sue me. And with that, let's go right into the video, starting with the worst dramas of 2025. And so in 6th worst drama of the year, it is going to be When the Stars Gossip, and I rated this a 5.5 out of 10. And so this is about an astronaut and a tourist that meet and fall in love at a space station. There's this whole plotline where Lee Min-ho's character, he's the tourist, he goes into space because he's dating a very rich chaebol girlfriend. So by the way, he is dating her throughout this all. So he's a cheater, number 1. But basically, her older brother passes away, and it's something about space and health where his sperm can get straightened in space and be able to impregnate the wife who is still alive and wants her late husband's child, even though he's like passed or whatever. So that's like the main plotline. So Lee Min-ho, he ends up going up to space in order to do some illegal science stuff. And so Kong Hyo-jin is the commander of the ship. She's the captain, whatever. And basically, she's just being a commander, and they end up falling in love, but he's also doing illegal stuff. It's funny that I did rate this a 5.5 out of 10 because it's higher than the rest. And I will say the only thing this had going for it was entertainment value. It was probably one of the stupidest dramas I had seen in a long time, because if you know the ending, you know the ending. It is interesting that we started off the year with one of the worst dramas, because this was in January. It was a highly anticipated drama. And I said this before too, personally, I didn't approve or agree with their message relating to science and medicine. They have this whole like pro-life kind of spiel going on. I'm not sure why the two fell in love. It felt weird from both sides, because I think technically she was also dating someone when she went into the space, and he was dating her, dating the chaebol when he went to space. So he was definitely dating someone. And yeah, their entire whirlwind romance, I didn't think made much sense. There were some very goofy scenes, like them doing it in space, and their obsession with fertility in this show was like crazy in my opinion. But it was entertaining. It was an entertaining train wreck, and for that, I gave it a 5.5. Funny enough, it was a very, very expensive drama with very expensive actors. I would love to see Lee Min-ho and Kong Hyo-jin in another work together. This script was absolutely, it was not it. It was, how did this get approved? It's pretty crazy. But yeah, and in 5th place, I have Spring of Youth, and I rated this a 5 out of 10. And so this story follows Hage, the charismatic vocalist and guitarist of a top K-pop group, The Crown, is unexpectedly forced to enroll at Hanju University after a sudden accident. Thrown into an unfamiliar world, he chaotically navigates his way through college life and fatefully meets Kim Bom. As they grow closer, Sage's passion for music reignites, and he forms a mysterious band to start music again. So the idea of it sounded very promising, because I love me a band romance. This was just a train wreck. There was just all these characters being evil left and right, a lot of annoying characters. I will say Sage and Bom's relationship was so confusing. There were times where he was like chasing her and then he stopped liking her and then he decided to chase her again after the truth came out or whatever. And honestly, it was just a mess. I felt so bad for her. Even like Sunghyun's character, he was really annoying. Sunghyun's character, like a jealous wreck. Even he made the comment about how like she literally got broken up with by Sage and then she ends up going back to him like pretty easily and pretty quickly. Like sure they were cute for a little bit, but there was nothing really beyond Sage and Bom being cute for a little bit. Otherwise, the entire ensemble, I didn't feel any sort of attachment to anyone. It was just very inconsequential kind of drama. Like honestly, so many generic rom-coms get produced, and this one did nothing interesting nor original. So yeah, it was a very, very mid drama. And again, like the plot line, it was just too annoying. Like watching this was just like, oh, this isn't like enjoyable or entertaining. And in fourth place, I have Squid Game season 3, which I also rated a 5 out of 10. I have watched every Squid Game season, and I will start off with the fact that this is not my genre. I am not interested in high concept stories. I'm not interested in murder. I am not interested also in ensemble cast. So Squid Games is a huge ensemble cast. Season 3 also is more like season 2 part 2 in my opinion. Like I don't know why they labeled it like this because season 2 ends on like a cliffhanger that is attached to season 3. Like literally, I think it picks right back up where season 2 ended and I was like, what's going on? And for me, season 2 was better, but I just think they developed a lot of characters and they couldn't flesh out every single one of them because there was very few runtime for the show, and a lot of their plot lines were just really, really disappointing. The way the entire show ended felt very anticlimactic to me. I generally felt the acting was a lot weaker. There was nothing as novel as the original Squid Games season 1. So I would rate them in order of like first is the best to second to then third, because there are interesting characters at least in season 2 that they were setting up for, like Thanos. I'm sorry, Thanos was just too iconic for me. Everyone else, it was like, okay, interesting. And then nobody's character was fleshed out. Like the whole Park Yu Young and Lee Jin Wook like plotline, I was like, what was the point of you? We had June continue to be just as like useless as he was in the first seasons. And honestly, I still don't think we even fleshed out Lee Byung-hoon's character of why he was treating his brother the way he did, because we got a little bit backstory of why he started doing the games in the first place, but what did your brother do to you? And I feel like that was also just unresolved. And I just felt like the games just weren't as iconic as it was in the first season. And I feel like for me, Squid Games, the entire point is the novelty with the plot line. And by the time we're on our third season, it was like, okay, well, these are similar enough. It's not like that much better than season 1. I just felt like this was just a complete downgrade from the previous seasons. There was no character I was really rooting for. If anything, I also felt like Lee Jung Jae's character, he just didn't have any depth to him. Like he just felt so one-track mind. I have to save everyone, and I don't think there was any more complexity to him other than that. But I'm sorry, my opinions are my own, and yeah, I didn't enjoy this. And in third place, I have Dynamite Kiss, which I rated a 5 out of 10. Gong Ji-hyuk works as the leader of the Mother TF team at Baby Products Company. He is sharp, calm, and executes passionately. One day, a team member, Kodarim, suddenly kisses him. This places him in a difficult position because she is a married woman, or at least he thinks. In actuality, Kodarim is a single woman who needs a job to support herself. She gets a job by lying about her background and states she is married with a child to get hired as a temporary employee at the Baby Products Company where Gong Ji-hyuk works at. And so what's funny is this drama just finished, but it managed to make it into my worst K-drama of 2025 list. And initially, I already said I didn't really like the synopsis of this drama. I just think the entire plot that he thinks she's married and the fact that he's into her is really, really weird, because at the end of the day, it's like if she actually was married, which is what he thinks, the way he's behaving, I think was not really the best. I mean, obviously he didn't like actually flirt with her or do anything, but he just like couldn't actually control his feelings. And so if she was married, he still wasn't able to control his feelings. And honestly, this plotline just dragged for so long. I have no idea why she just didn't tell him earlier. And it was a little bit confusing too from her perspective of if she actually liked him. And if she liked him, she should have told him that she was single in order to save him all this grief. I feel like she just did him so dirty. And also, don't even get me started on the second leads in this drama. I will say Kdramas' best friend was like one of the worst second male lead characters I've seen in a while. The fact that he suddenly confesses his feelings and then later jokes about him like lying because it made her uncomfortable. Like, I don't know why he bothered to confess in the first place if he was just gonna pretend like it didn't happen. And also, the second female lead was literally such a great character, and the fact that he never appreciated her was really annoying. I really liked how her entire plotline was handled, and I loved her as a character. I think she was an interesting character, and honestly, a lot more supportable than everyone else here. Like, Kong Ji-hyuk was constantly trying to get with a married woman, which also makes it worse considering his dad was also a cheater. So he was literally just following in the same footsteps. I was kind of like, I don't really like the message here. You would think he would try a lot harder to not fall in love with a married woman, or the second he knows she's married, to like stop liking her. Because what are you gonna do if you can't stop liking someone when they're married? Like, I personally think you can. I think you can. I think being married can easily deter you from liking someone. But, you know, that's just my 2 cents. And to add on more, I just think all the characters here were really, really annoying. Another one to get on is Kong Ji-hyuk's sister. I have no idea what she was so hell-bent on ruining his life. I don't think we got enough into why she felt the need to beat Ji-hyuk to the point of even trying to kill him. And then the entire relationship with her and her ex, I thought that was a strange arc too. Like, it was kind of like they were kind of getting back together, but then she was kind of angry with him. And then at the end of the day, she becomes a good guy and turns the other guy in who tries to kill Ji-hyuk. But I'm like, you literally have had several murder attempts anyways. And the fact that she's like messing up Kodarim's life too, she's just a cruel, unusual character. And when she had her explosion at the father, I was like, I don't care at this point. You're like such an unredeemable character. Honestly, this entire drama sucked. It was a very generic plotline, but all the plotlines they had were very frustrating and annoying to watch. I will say they had good chemistry, but their characters weren't really likable, especially her, as she honestly was just like a damsel in distress kind of character, and I didn't really like that. Also, Kodarim being an absolute idiot and just falling for the evil sister's lies was also just like, dude, how dumb can you be? And it's just, yeah, very frustrating watch, very annoying watch. Very last thing I think I watched completed in all of 2025, and it happened to be into my worst list. Yeah, the only thing that saved this was Kong Ji-hyuk being absolutely adorable, because in my second and first worst place dramas, I think there was nothing redeemable about them. In second place for worst drama I saw this year is going to be Would You Marry Me? And I rated this a 5 out of 10. And so this follows Mary, whose fiance cheats on her and she loses her home to a fraud. Broken homeless, she meets a stranger who shares her ex's name. When Mary wins a store's newlywed prize of a luxury townhouse, she asks Kim Woo-joo to act as her husband to claim the prize. And this could come as a shock, but I don't know how much people like this drama, to be honest. For me, the main annoyance was the actual plotline, in my opinion. Like, it was very contrived, and it's like, okay, if it's like contrived for a reason, then we move on. I mean, some people will like this, I guess, but for me, the plot itself was pretty stupid. Are you telling me they did this whole identification check and they didn't really catch Uju with the house thing? And then they also don't really like live together. I feel like that was going to be part of the trope, that they were going to live together and fall in love, and I'm good with the co-inhabitation plot. It was a fake marriage trope, and honestly, I think my number one thing is this is supposed to be rom-com, and it was just giving kind of stupid. I think it's the kind of humor that I just don't really enjoy, maybe kind of like slapstick, unrealistic, kind of funny coincidence situations happening. My biggest pet peeve, now that I'm thinking about it, is the fact there's a murder plotline going on amidst our rom-com. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the first time I think that I've seen a drama where they had a character who was living like a double life. And then my second beef was the fact that her ex, who is an absolute jerk, like a piece of work, honestly. It has been a while since I have seen an ex be that annoying. Like, literally, he cheats on her and doesn't feel sorry until he gets broken up with by that girl, and then he comes crawling back to her, which was the most random arc in my opinion too. And honestly, his mom and sister literally were the most irritating people ever. Like, I wish Mary's mom like beat the crap out of them, because they were so rude to her, especially because they knew that she was so good to their son. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was such a hard watch, and Mary was such a doormat when it came to her ex. Like, dude, just because he gets hospitalized, you do not need to care about him. You know, like, he cheated on you and he mistreated you and did all that stuff. The last last thing I care about is taking care of him in the hospital. Man can survive. There are plenty of people in hospitals that do not have family caring. She goes, oh yeah, but it's been 3 years. Girl, there are people in longer relationships that still break up. Like 3 years honestly was like not enough for you to be treating that man the way you did. And yeah, honestly, I didn't really feel their chemistry. I feel like Uju was too good for her at that point. Mary as a character just sent me over the edge. And so, yeah, funny enough, it's like Love Next Door was one of my worst dramas last year. Somin's next rom-com here with Would You Marry Me was also just not a hit in my opinion and not worth the watch whatsoever. I will say this year was not that great for K-dramas. Yeah, the worst stuff that I watched this year was, I feel like, a lot worse than the stuff I watched last year. So for the worst drama of 2025, it is going to be My Girlfriend is the Man, and I rated this a 4 out of 10. It's about Sanha, who plays this character named Yoonjae, and one day his perfect girlfriend turns into a man. I stuck this through, I think, because there was nothing else to watch at the time that this was airing, and I am an Aroha. I've been an Aroha since debut. I love my baby Sanha, which is actually why I started this in the first place. And basically this entire plotline just seemed very pointless. Like, what was the purpose of her changing into a man? At some point it was kind of giving BL, but it also wasn't, because at no points was he ever like attracted to him. And I mean, I feel like they were trying to sell you this idea of like he's like in love with the soul of his girlfriend. But honestly, the entire drama just fell flat. I will say my main annoyance with this drama is going to be Chu's character. So basically, while his girlfriend is turned into a man, they basically break up, decide to be friends. And so Chu's character comes in and she's got a crush on Yoonjae and will not take no for an answer. And my biggest grievance is not just the fact that we have such an annoying second female lead. It's the fact that he does not shake her off. He does not set boundaries whatsoever, and it pisses his girlfriend off the entire time. And so I'm literally confused as heck too, because Yoonjae is an absolute sweetheart to his girlfriend. So the fact that he's not willing to set boundaries with his classmate, despite it upsetting his girlfriend, really confused me, because he seems like the kind of guy that would do anything for his girlfriend. And so honestly, the entire show was just a frustrating watch. There was no characters I was really attached to. Even the female lead's sister had like a romance plotline. I was like honestly not sure where that was going either. Yeah, honestly, I didn't even have high expectations to begin with. There was like no message here and just a lot of frustration and annoyance. So this was the worst thing I watched in 2025. But yeah, so that is all for the worst dramas, and now it's time to move on to the best. In sixth best drama of the year, I have Dear Ex, which I rated an 8 out of 10. And so this is about Jin, who grew up enduring domestic violence, forcing her to hide her emotions and survive by reading and manipulating others. Outwardly, she appears generous and kind, but when her ambitions are threatened, her darker nature emerges. With beauty and talent, she rises to become a top actress. So some of you might be shocked about my rating for this, because while I was on air, I'm not gonna lie, I went through hating and liking this drama a lot. I think when I first started it, I binged it like crazy, and I was like, oh, this is like such a good drama. And I will say that Kim Yoo-jung's acting as Jin is literally the reason for this drama being as successful as it is. It has been a long time since I've seen such a vicious character, but she also played this very convincingly. Like, she seemed like another person. Like, she seemed very real as a character. And honestly, it was a very complex drama. Like there are definitely parts where I was like, is she good? Is she bad? Is this all within reason of these events happening to you? I was constantly thinking about it, and there were constantly, I think, good sides to her, despite her being like super, super evil. Yeah, it's just about how the experiences that you have shape you and how the decisions you make continue to like go. My biggest issue with this drama is I thought there was going to be a romance plotline. Come on, look at this poster. And the plotline originally says something about like Junso, who is always on her side, and we didn't get any of that. Honestly, he was such an extra. Like, his character was less interesting than our second male lead, in my opinion. Like, I was like, what is your purpose? His character felt very one-dimensional, and especially compared to Jin, and I was like, what is the point? Why are you on the poster? Do you really matter? Like, yeah, his turning point, his triggering point that like switched their relationship, I just didn't think was like convincing enough for me personally. There's nothing wrong with the fact that there wasn't romance. I just think it's because I was baited into believing believing there was going to be. In the beginning, initially, too, it seems like they kind of have a relationship going on. And so there is some sort of pointing towards romance. But honestly, I don't think we ever know if he loves her or not, like romantically. I would say the reasons that I hated this drama were because in the beginning, I would say a lot of things that she did were understandable, definitely not right, but it's like when life is that cruel to you, I'm like, okay. And you still end up feeling sorry for her, even though what she's doing is wrong. There are certain points that she went so far that I was like, I don't feel sorry for you. Why am I watching a drama for a character that I don't support? So that was personally my issue with the drama, and I think that is still my only issue with the drama is I watch dramas because I like to feel happy and I like to feel related and to feel seen. Obviously, I didn't feel seen or relatable at all with Baekha-jin. I definitely think there were some aspects of the way pain kind of turns you crazy that I could like see and understand. But other than that, it obviously took everything to an extreme. But again, it was a very complex story, complex character, insane acting, and for that, it made it to 6th place. Despite this is not my genre whatsoever. But out of everything this year, though, this is a drama that stood out, and that is why it solidly deserves a place in my best dramas of this year. And in 5th place, I have 100 Memories, and I also rated this an 8 out of 10. So in the 1980s, South Korea. And so this one is actually, I think, the only unpopular opinion I'm going to have in my top 6. And honestly, I enjoyed this drama with the love triangle, and yes, I was on the ship of the couple that ended up together. And so basically this drama, its negative reviews were simply because it didn't focus enough on the female friendships and the fact that it is a love triangle over a man. People think that the couple that ends up together have no chemistry. I didn't feel any of those issues. I thought their friendship was fine. Like, yeah, it was probably better when they were younger, but I still felt like they had that friendship as adults. And I think that things change. And honestly, I don't think either character ever did the other girl wrong. I think they were just reacting to situations based off their environment and their past. And honestly, everything was within reason. I don't think either one of them ever did anything that was out of line. And lastly, in terms of the chemistry, I thought it was good. I watched this drama because of the edits of couples, and honestly, I feel like a drama that has convincing ships is like a big reason to watch a drama. Because people feel really strongly about who she should end up with. And if you feel strongly, that means the drama has done something right to get you emotionally attached to one couple or another. I was actually not attached to the second male lead whatsoever. For me, his feelings felt so random. And you're right that he was a complete green flag. He was there for her. But he literally had no screen time with her. I was like, dude, why are you so like in love with her? Like, what has happened? And again, people think that the girl that he doesn't end up with, the friend that he doesn't end up with, have better chemistry. And for me, I like her better with her other pair, even though that was a little disappointing that they didn't really completely wrap up that plot line. I overall enjoyed this for the unserious, light, fluffy rom-com it was. Could it have been better? Yes. I think this was a drama that had 10 out of 10 potential, but it messed up in a couple of ways. Like, I do see some of the flaws, like the friendship definitely could have been stronger, and the love line could have been a little bit more convincing. They were still cute. They had their cute moments, and honestly, that is enough for me. And in 4th place is a drama that honestly came out of nowhere for me, and that is going to be Spirit Fingers, which I rated an 8.5 out of 10. Song Woo-yeon is an awkward and seemingly utterly unremarkable high school student who lives a bland and boring existence. But when she receives a mysterious smartphone message inviting her to join an art club named Spirit Fingers, her life turns upside down. She accepts the offer, only to discover that the club's members all have their distinct colors, which are all linked intrinsically to their personalities. This puts her on a collision course with the seemingly brash and gregarious Red Finger as she begins to grow into her new identity as Baby Blue Finger. And so that is an interesting synopsis for this drama, but as they describe her character, she is supposed to be bland and boring, and I just kind of related to those aspects. I think she was just such a lovable female lead to watch, just so ordinary, and then she struggles a lot with like self-esteem issues, and it's just so relatable. But over the course of the drama, as she learns to become confident in herself, was absolutely such a good watch. And one thing that people have mentioned that I also enjoyed was the fact that she did not change from beginning to end. Like, a lot of, in terms of physical appearances. A lot of the times people get makeovers or their personalities change, and it honestly pushes this message that there is a right way to be as a person. Like, you have to be outgoing, you have to be pretty, but she literally was just a high school student, and she stayed that way from beginning to end, and it was more about her growing confidence within herself rather than her changing anything and like becoming someone else or looking like someone else. Like, she managed to just be happy with who she was, and I just thought that was a really beautiful message. And then on this one, this romance was convincing. Like, and as one of my comments mentioned, he's a mix of, I would say, Ryu Sun-jae from Lovely Runner and Ha Yi-chen from Twinkling Watermelon. He's got that absolutely down bad loser and love aspect of Ryu Sun-jae with the extroverted, bright Ha Yi-chan popular boy vibes, and he is an absolute like sucker in love, and it is just so cute watching him fall for Wooyeon, especially as Wooyeon does not see these positive traits in herself, but him on the other hand, he's just like absolutely crazily madly in love with her for who she is and not like what she looks like, because he sees those sides of her that nobody else notices. And honestly, I think this drama did a really good job in the way that they tackled self-esteem and fitting in and issues, especially with her family, because she does have those situations going on. It was overall a very, very cute drama. It was pretty much like a cute, happy, fluffy drama, and honestly also gets bonus points for originality. I've not seen a drama like this ever. Especially because it feels very anime-esque, which is what I previously said about it in my reviews. It is based off of a webtoon. I feel like this is one of those dramas you could really feel that, especially because of how quirky and weird the characters are, but they just all embrace it. There's a lot of like also touching moments in here, unexpectedly as well, so that's also why I really enjoyed it. This is a drama definitely worth a watch. It's very cute. Nothing too deep, but it was well done for what it was. Okay, and we're rounding our way up to top 3. In third place, I have Love Scout, and I rated this a 9 out of 10. So, a successful and confident woman, Kang Ji-yoon is the CEO of a headhunting company. To survive in the fiercely competitive headhunting field, she puts everything she has into her work. Outside of her job, she doesn't know how to do anything. She has a secretary named Yoon-ho who takes care of pretty much everything for her. Unlike his boss, the secretary is friendly, well-mannered, and considerate of other people. He's a single father who is good at parenting and housework. And so my review of this is going to be very similar to the reason that I initially liked this when this started airing in January, and it's a mature romance with adults. I think Lee Jun-hyuk is super sexy in his role as Yoo Eun-ho, and it is, I feel like, one of the very first times it is portrayed a very attractive single father character, gentle and caring, and I love how it transferred over to his work as a secretary. I feel like they took all the sides of being a single father and really showed him in like a positive light, which I absolutely love. Also, I love cold, closed off female lead. That's just kind of one of the tropes that I'm very into anyways, and their love story is one all about warmth. It's not like this fiery, passionate love, but he's just like really warming up her life, warming up her heart, and he's someone who has that kind of love to give, and which is all very sweet and cute. My only issue with this drama is it just felt so cliched. I just think they could have taken more time to develop the show. It was a 12-episode drama, but I think this actually would have done well to be 16 episodes. I do feel like certain things weren't wrapped up well enough, and I feel like there were a couple plot lines that were too contrived in my opinion. Like, you could have resulted at the same place, but it's like, oh, you're telling me that this happened or this happened that allowed them to do this into like fueling the romance. So there were a little bit too many cliches that if they just avoided those, I would have exponentially increased my enjoyment of this drama. Yeah, I think also this being a 16-episode drama would have made this more likely to be a 10 out of 10. I just think a couple things were rushed. Yeah, but overall, this was very up my alley with insane chemistry. Lee Jun-hyuk was the man, honestly, this year. He's such a green flag softy boy, and I loved it. And so at number 2, I have our Unwritten Seoul, and I rated this a 10 out of 10. And so twin sisters Yumi Ji and Yumi Rei differ in everything except their faces. Yumi Ji, the younger of the twins, has ended her short heyday as a promising track and field athlete and is currently living a free-spirited life. On the other hand, the older sister of the twins, Yumi Rei, has been walking the path of the elite since her school days, is a perfectionist working at a public corporation. The twins, physically identical but leading starkly different lives, embark on a bold charade and end up switching lives. This was a masterpiece, absolutely portrayed depression very, very authentically, and I think another reason why I love this drama is it has messages that I really relate to. So with Miji, it's just this feeling of hopelessness, not being enough. Will things ever get better? And for Mide, it's like living what on paper is supposed to be the glamorous life, but having to deal with work politics and being unhappy yourself. And I think that was I feel like they both were depressed in opposite ways, with Mide being hopeless about like her situation in terms of like specs, like what it looks like on paper, and being kind of embarrassed and ashamed of herself for not being good enough, whereas Mide was unhappy in the life that she was living, like day to day. I mean, also, it's just like as the sisters, their bond and their friendship and their love for each other, all of that, watching it was really good. And then obviously the romance aspect of it is one of the cutest bits. And I don't know, I think I just loved the way that this portrayed the characters, the way they are as people, and like seeing the good in each character. I really wish this drama was a 16 episode drama. I feel like it could have done more with the time that it had. And also, one of the sisters' plot lines doesn't get wrapped up as much, and I wanted to see a little bit more in terms of that. Yeah, honestly, the chemistry and romance was great, and I would have to say that the acting was phenomenal. I do have to applaud Park Bo-young's acting in this because she plays twin sisters, and the difference between each sister was amazing. She did a really phenomenal job playing two characters that felt so different. Some of the dialogue in here is really hard hitting and makes me cry and it makes me laugh. And that is like the ultimate reason why I fall in love with a K-drama, is if it can make me experience all those emotions and make me feel seen. And that is what this drama is. This is a good one. This is a really good one. And my drama of the year is When Life Gives You Tangerines. And I rated this the perfect 10 out of 10 as well. In Jeju, a spirited girl and a steadfast boy's island love story blossoms into a lifelong tale of setbacks and triumphs, proving love endures across time. This drama is, I think, the indisputable first place. I honestly don't see how anyone else could dislike this drama or not think it was the drama of the year, because it absolutely is. This is a once in a decade kind of writing. The fact that it was able to be so good and maintain its pacing every single episode was actually revolutionary in my opinion. And I loved the format of this drama, which also made it really refreshing. Sometimes Netflix dramas will drop all episodes at once. They actually decided to cut this story into 4 parts, and each of the parts is a different period in the story, which I thought was really well done. And so this story is just a really, really well done family story. You can see all these different relationships between like father and daughter, father and son. Every single relationship in this story, I felt like I had seen this relationship before. It was very relatable in some ways, and it was very touching and heartwarming. There is no real villain in the show. I mean, there is kind of one, but at the end of the day, I think this show just showed that everyone is a person and they have their good sides and their bad sides. Things happen sometimes out of our control, and how our environment changes us and makes us who we are. There's a lot of fun moments in this drama, but there's also a lot of sad moments, and I'm gonna say I probably live for the sad moments in this drama. Like, some things, just the way they set it up, absolutely break your heart. And like, for spoiler, one of my favorite scenes is it's the scene where Aesun sees that Kumyoung is pregnant.
왜? 또 뭐? 호르몬이 붙었고 엄마는 또 졌다. 마찬가지 갖고 가지. 나처럼 임신해서 너무 꼴을 봐. 저도 막막하지 저도. 어떻게?
And the fact that Gumyoung is like acting out is just like, my baby is having a baby.
그러니까 말이 안 되지. 사람이 28시간씩 초도 죽겠다 초도. 어떻게 18에 애를 낳았어. 18에. 그냥 엄마가 친정 엄마가 되고 외할머니가 됐다. 그건 언덕이 동산이 되고 태산이 되는 일 같았다. 아니 자기는 막 친정 엄마도 없고 무통주사도 없는데 어떻게 나를 18에. 운명이 되는 게 역할을 탔단 말이야. 그들의 아가가 아가를 낳았다.
And it's just, I'm literally going to cry thinking about that scene. It's just so sweet about the fact that at times you don't know what someone else is going through and how these external factors can lead you to acting in certain ways. But at the end of the day, there's so much love in the family that Kim Young was in, and Aesun, and the way that Kim Young was shaped due to her wonderful, wonderful parents. And even despite all of this goodness, like life can just be hard sometimes. And I think that's what this show is about. Just like life and it ups and downs and the good and the bad. And we are watching it from the perspective of this really good, nice family. So I think that's what makes it so enjoyable as we celebrate their wins and we mourn their losses together. This drama makes you feel a lot, like really, really does. And the fact that the writing was as tight as it was for 16 episodes is actually really difficult these days for K-dramas. Like I could not tell you a single flaw with this drama, and that is amazing. That's really, really amazing. I would say if you're gonna watch anything this year, this has to be it. This really is it. This, since it aired in March, has been my drama of the year, and so it really stuck it out over time. Like several months later, there's nothing that comes to close to topping this. This writing was on another level, and it's a drama that will go down in the history of K-dramas. And so with that, that is all the 2025 K-dramas you should watch and should avoid. Yeah, I can't believe it's the new year already. Happy New Year. It's 2026. I always have a lot of plans, but we'll see how good I am at actually accomplishing them. As always, if you're interested in talking about dramas, join my Discord. I talk about dramas on air mainly, and so yeah. Also, I would love to know your thoughts of what your best and worst dramas of the year were. And yeah, hopefully if you're interested in hearing any of my thoughts on dramas going forward, I do a monthly series update. Next month I will be doing January and December combined because I couldn't do December due to this video coming up. And so yeah, with that, if you're new here, welcome. If you've been here for a year now, wow, thank you, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I'm excited for 2026 dramas to come, and hopefully it'll be a better year. I know people say this every year, but I do think on general Chinese dramas were better, so I will have my all Chinese dramas ranked coming out next week, and there's just fewer Chinese dramas I watched, so that's why that video is that way, versus I can't make a video of every K-drama I watched ranked, or otherwise it's gonna be a million years. This video is already long enough. And so yeah, with that, I hopefully will see you in the next one.